Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We've got some updates and plans coming out of CIG, Cloud Imperium Games, with huge changes to Arena Commander and a dev response on what's happening with Theatres of War, the combined arms objective-based game mode, because it's not cancelled. From the latest Inside Star Citizen in the arena, we learnt Cloud Imperium is attempting to revive and rework Arena Commander, the more arcadey, quick, fast-paced gameplay mode for Star Citizen that allows you to cooperatively fight swarms of Vandal or pirates or do some PvP matches. It's dogfighting combat for Arena Commander, it's FPS combat for Star Marine, and there's a selection of racetracks as well. But this has all seen a big overhaul. Now, it looks like what we're going to talk about here is roughly targeted for Star Citizen now for 3.19. That is not a confirmation. Cloud Imperium have said later this year for the first drop, but from what they've previously said and what Cloud Imperium are currently working on and their sort of pace, it looks like it's a 3.19 sort of feature. There is a new small but dedicated Arena Commander feature team that is trying to revitalize this mode, giving that dogfighting, racing and Star Marine gameplay some much needed love potentially for that patch and beyond. Sean Tracy, Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content, is trying to re-excite players for Arena Commander. Originally, Star Citizen first implemented a hangar module, and then they added this dogfighting module, which effectively had Arena Commander and Vandal Swarm and PvP. They were the only ways to sort of experience any form of Star Citizen gameplay at the time. This enabled Cloud Imperium to sort of then build the persistent universe on top of that. So Arena Commander really excels for like PvP battles or a quick sort of co-op against Swarm game mode, and they often use metrics from Arena Commander, or at least they have in the past, to improve the persistent universe. So yeah, this was the first multiplayer experience, but once the persistent universe appeared, most resources moved on to that instead, and we sort of had a bit of a stagnant Arena Commander, and we have for years. During the pandemic, CIG stopped working with Firesprite, who had been working on things like Theatres of War, Arena Commander, and Star Marine. This then changed their plans. It seems that some of that Firesprite team, though, has actually left Firesprite and has permanently joined Cloud Imperium. They want to get all of the content from the persistent universe and scale it into Arena Commander without having to remake it for that mode. Arena Commander is going to be critically important for testing ships and tactics once Death of a Spaceman comes online, as players will not want to risk their lives in the persistent universe when they can do something quickly and easily without risk in Arena Commander and try it out in a much quicker life cycle. So yeah, currently Arena Commander is stale. It hasn't seen parity of updates with Star Citizen and the persistent universe. They want this to be much closer and accurate to what's in the persistent universe. They want that parity. Over the next 2 years, they have big plans for Arena Commander, and the first stage of their plans is imminent. Laying the foundation, updating the code and general functionality, that's the first step. The front end is getting an overhaul, from getting into Arena Commander to making private matches. They are getting rid of all the Flash and legacy tech, replacing it with building blocks. You'll be able to easily choose and configure your game mode. Arena Commander, Racing and Star Marine will basically all come under the Arena Commander heading. They are going to be iterating each patch with more and more features. Ship selections, marine loadouts, ship loadouts, they're all going to become a lot more ergonomic. They are also making it quicker and easier for you to get an appropriate match, be that head-to-head PvP or with teammates in swarm modes. Private matches are coming back too. They've been building tools for designers to be able to build out new modes and missions for Arena Commander quickly and easily, being able to sort of like go, these ships are going to be allowed for this particular mode or this map or whatever, and not this one, and all that sort of jazz. They want their maps and battles to be, well, much better. They've already given the Dying Star map a big update last year. It looks amazing, but there were some big issues for its playability for Arena Commander, which they've now taken feedback on and improved. So the map was too bright. There were lots of fog and performance issues. Players suffered motion sickness as well. You'll notice a lot of this has been fixed in 3.18. There was a weird bug where NPCs were spawning inside the space stations there, tanking FPS, and now they sort of made it so they stopped spawning there. There are a load of exciting gameplay improvements coming soon, planned for 3.19 currently, I believe. They want the racing mode for Arena Commander to be a great place for you to perfect your skills for the persistent universe as well. So the New Horizon maps are super old now for those racetracks. They are updating this and putting that track in an actual planet and atmosphere now. This is going to be Ellis 3, otherwise known as Green. It's an Earth-like holiday planet. Gravity and atmosphere will affect the race, along with a whole host of visual improvements. You can even fly down to the planet's surface if you want. They are going to be taking the points of interest and environments from the persistent universe and bringing them into Arena Commander where appropriate. So they're going to be doing this for the persistent universe racetracks that are part of 3.18. They're also going to make sure that these locations will always have parity there afterwards, so improvements to one will affect the other. This goes beyond racetracks as well, though. They can do this for FPS locations, dogfighting locations, wherever. You're going to get places like Jericho Station for dogfighting around that area, and with this update. So when I say with this update, I'm talking about the sort of big drop of Arena Commander updates. Again, probably 3.19, but you can expect many more in the future. They are updating and implementing 12 racetracks in Arena Commander. They're adding Jericho Station dogfighting. There's going to be loads of quality of life improvements, reworks to vital systems. They are separating the patch notes and Arena Commander updates for clarity from patch to patch as well. You can expect more ships and modes to be added as more comes online. Now, I'm quite excited to see that in-game, but there were some dev responses I also want to talk about that are part of this. So there was a thread on Spectrum, big AC, Arena Commander update, but no Theatres of War informations. Dear Cloud Imperium Games, dear Arena Commander team, I was really happy to see Inside Star Citizen about the planned Arena Commander updates and hoped that at least a few words about getting the game mode Theatres of War would come from you. After all, the game mode was announced at CitizenCon 2019 and should be released in spring 2020. Of course, we know that there were various problems with Firesprite, Sony, and other difficulties, but it is completely incomprehensible from my point of view how you can communicate so intransparently when it comes to this. We don't deserve that. We support the development through our purchases, our feedback, and also through our patience. I want to be fair. I don't want to attack or insult anyone. I want to criticize constructively. It is with indictment which is beyond compare when, after almost 3 years of delay in a video for the big Arena Commander updates, not a single word is said on this topic. Finally, get your communication back on eye level, educate the community, not only when things are going well, but also when things are difficult. For me, that's at least part of it, if you as a game developer say about yourself that you are transparent and open for the community. Community manager Xylo responded to this. Theatres of War is not technically in active development, as indicated directly on the progress tracker on the public roadmap. To get ahead of the inevitable next question, no, it's not cancelled. In fact, we've actually hired 3 of the incredibly talented Theatres of War developers from Firesprite, and look forward to sharing more details with you when the time is right. It's equally important to highlight that Theatres of War has already positively impacted the persistent universe and the future of Arena Commander. For instance, the Siege of Orison wouldn't have been possible without the work completed for Theatres of War. The team is still as passionate as ever and looks forward to sharing updates on Theatres of War and other experimental game modes when they are ready to do so. There was also a user on that thread that stated, "Please, for crying out loud, do not get sidetracked by another feature that only appeals to a minority of the player base. The minority of us do not care about Arena Commander, Star Marine, or even Theatres of War." Xylo responded to this. There are more than 50 teams on the project, and only one of them is working on Arena Commander, and that team is very small. The work done within Arena Commander is also tremendously important for the persistent universe, even more so true with the work the team is focused on now. There was another follow-up question about Theatres of War, just basically asking, will we get a Theatres of War update in the future on Inside Star Citizen? Again, Xylo responded, "We were just discussing this today. We'll certainly have the team back on to share more in the future about both Theatres of War and other experimental game modes." I am very glad that Theatres of War isn't cancelled, as I did enjoy playing it at CitizenCon 2019, and its various Evocadi tests. From my BoredGamery point of view, it does need more development, better netcode, improved animations, and a variety of other things before it's more sort of like in players' hands. Nothing's been lost, though, because they've sort of canned it, because obviously things like, as they said, the Siege of Orison and those new platform missions that are even in 3.18 are directly related to the work that was done on Theatres of War, and it is just a sort of big game mode for Arena Commander. So it does make sense that they are going to be working on some of the lower hanging fruit with Arena Commander and that sort of stuff first. Theatres of War just isn't ready for prime time. It's a shame. It is very much a Cloud Imperium being poor with the knowing the level of work needed to get it into players' hands in a good state. Because they could have released it in 2020, but it would have been a poor user experience. Too many bugs, too many problems, bad netcode. Also, I do actually quite like the idea of Arena Commander being revived and having swarm mode. Maybe they'll update the Vandal ships in that. Maybe this stuff will be significantly better and actually be the sort of, I've only got half an hour to play a game, bam, I'll play some Arena Commander in Star Citizen rather than playing something else or trying to jump into the persistent universe, which is typically a longer sort of amount of time I have to put aside for that. Also, I don't really want sort of like a huge amount of development time spent on Arena Commander compared to the persistent universe, which for me is where most of that development work should be going. But there's only a small dedicated team working on Arena Commander, so hopefully that should work well for the project. Boom. That's it for your Star Marine and Arena Commander updates today. But what do you think? Are you waiting for Cloud Imperium to get Theatres of War into players' hands? When do you think that will be? Do you think that's just entirely a waste of time? Would you play Arena Commander if it had an overhaul? Have you still been playing Arena Commander throughout the Star Citizen sort of patches and still play it now? Do you think we'll see a big chunk of this sort of Arena Commander update set in Alpha 3.19? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Using my vast powers of deduction, I have deduced that you may have eyes, and to make use of those, you might want a Tobii eye tracker. They're 15% off until February 9th. They're natively supported in Star Citizen for eye and head tracking. Ooh, I can look around everywhere. Check out my links below for that, or go to tobii.gg/BoredGamer to get that fantastic deal. Ooh.
That's the last chevron locked in, Mr. Daniel Jackson, who is legally distinct from any doctors of the same name. We've done it. We've connected to another world. Daniel Jackson, we're being hacked through the gates to the stars, which is also legally distinct from any other gates that travel to the stars. We should have got NordVPN, Daniel Jackson. We would have been able to browse the internet safely, accessed our favorite content on Netflix, and we would have been able to have privacy. We would have had less of these Egyptian-looking snake people attacking us too.
You should check out nordvpn.com/BoredGamer and get yourself a great deal on NordVPN. Just click the link in the comments section below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For February, it's for a Crusader Spirit C1, the very cool looking multi-crew, multi-role competitor to the Cutlass Black and Freelancer. As it's a concept ship, you'll get a Cutlass Black until it's made flyable. You'll get lifetime insurance with the ship and a game package for Star Citizen 2, so all you need to play. Just comment on any of my videos made during the month to be in for a chance of winning that. If you would like to further support the channel, then consider becoming a Patreon or using that join button under my YouTube videos to become a channel member. It goes a massive way to helping us make videos every day, and you'll get some exclusive content from me and Zinnia from time to time too. Become a board gamer today!